Wanted to show you a bit about DNS servers in Server 2008. If you've got a virtual machine at home, or you have a spare piece of hardware and you've installed a server on it and you've made it a domain controller, you pretty much have to make it a DNS server right off the bat. Otherwise, Active Directory just doesn't work right. Got to have a DNS server. I think the rule of thumb now is every domain controller in a domain is automatically a DNS server. It has its advantages. Replication tends to give you a really good level of redundancy amongst your DNS servers. Working with them from the Active Directory side is not terribly involved. They pretty much take care of themselves. This is a little bit, just nothing in this domain. This is a virtual machine. It's got one goofy domain name on it. One machine here, this server sitting in it. This is the important part, though. The forward lookup zones and your domain name would be right there. There may come a time, though, when you'll need to set up some other domain possibly, so that you can resolve computer names to IP addresses. And it's a pretty straightforward event. Highlight the server itself, create a new zone, click next. We'll make it a primary zone. We'll keep going. Yeah, we'll replicate it everywhere. Go next. Yeah, let's make it a forward lookup zone. Forward lookup zones are names to IPs, reverse, literally the reverse thing, IP to name. Well, next, let's give it a zone name. Let's give it, stick with a theme there. We'll go that name.local. Let's see. Yeah, we'll go ahead and allow secure dynamic updates. There's my domain configured in a new lookup zone here. Now I have that one. I have this one, which is my original. I have this one. There's no records in here. It's not useful until I start adding host records, or even more importantly, a mail exchanger record, which is how the systems know where to send email. Host name is very straightforward. What is the name of the host you're going to? Let's go, it's DC1, and that name.local is the first domain controller. What IP address is it? It's 10.10. Oh, let's make it even more ridiculous. That's what I have to worry about. The ones I got there, I got one too many and a dot too many. There we go. Add a host. And it creates it. You'll notice I put the name here. It automatically appends. Let's call it web. That name automatically appends the rest of the domain on there. Whoops, missed a dot. And we'll create another one. That's manual creation of domain DNS A host, A records. Obviously, you probably have more accurate IP addressing here. Could even be a different network, but as long as you have a router set up, you're good. Those are A records. It's that simple to do. So I want a mail exchanger record for the same domain. I have to know what server to send my email to. Host or child domain. I'm just going to leave it like it is, right there. And I'm going to say the fully qualified domain name is mail.name.local. I'm going to say OK. You'll notice it did not get an IP address. How does it know where to send it? That's where another A record comes in. A record. What did I call that thing? Mail? Yeah. The IP address and the host. Takes two. A record just to identify the server. And this says that's the email server for that domain. That's a record and host records. Again, in Active Directory, most of the DNS management is handled in the background. There's not much you're going to have to do with it. There are, however, some instances where you may have some services set up that have to be explicitly mentioned in DNS. Maybe it's some weird offshoot of a Linux operating system or something. Doesn't participate in Active Directory. You're going to have to know how to add it into your lookup zone as an A record. Okay? Thank you.